Coming up on this edition of VCU In Depth, documentaries from students in VCU's Robertson School of Media and Culture.
Tonight, we'll look at the difficult topic of white privilege and what that can mean for both whites and minorities.
And we'll look back at the Richmond comedy troupe that uses competition to make people laugh.
VCU In Depth begins right now. Hello, and welcome to this edition of VCU In Depth. I'm Chelsea Hansen.
And I'm Alexis Manley. Thanks for joining us as we feature documentaries from undergraduate students in VCU's Robertson School of Media and Culture. We all know that the decisions we make every day can seriously impact our lives.
But what if it wasn't just that? What if some things in life were decided for us? As citizens of the United States, we are all granted equal rights.
But in a community of different races and ethnicities, are we granted equal privileges? Even on a global scale, privilege has been an underlying issue for hundreds of years.
Living in a society where equality is often questioned, this documentary called Invisible Privilege asks, what role does race play in it?
I would ask someone, what is the role of race in your life? And if the answer is 0, that in itself is evidence of white privilege.
Imagine yourself in this scenario and you're walking down a street at night and coming towards you on the same side of the street is a white man. Would you be tempted to cross the road? And naturally I thought, no, why would I be tempted to cross the road? And the next time he asked, well, what if you were walking down the street late at night and a black man were coming towards you? And that honest reaction was, I'd probably walk across the road. And then I realized, wow, there's something wrong with that. And that was kind of the first time I realized, like, there's something inside me that tells me to avoid this type of person.
If I walk in through the door and you walk in through the door and I'm black and you're white, there is going to be some favoritism. There is going to be some level of, respect of person over me and for you just because of the color of skin. And it's, like I said again, it's just one of those things that's just really a beast.
I think white privilege is living in a society in which whiteness is the norm and that conformity to whiteness is rewarding.
I don't think I've had one student that said they haven't been, followed by a security guard at a mall or a worker, right? And again, my white students tend to be very surprised by that. Or my black students telling me that, especially again, my black male students, their parents have had a talk to them about how to treat the police, or if you're stopped by the police, immediately put your hands where they can see them, and my white students are, what, my parents have never, talked to me about that.
To me, and I would imagine that to a lot of people in America, it's pretty clear that white privilege is still in effect, is still a major force, and that people who grow up in a white family, in a white community, in a white neighborhood have opportunities, have expectations that are quite different, have assumptions that are quite different from those in non-white population communities. The beginnings of white privilege has to be, in my view, when race-based slavery becomes a major component for the British colonies that then become the United States of America and grows out of these British colonies.
At the structural level, if you're talking about white privilege, it would be, if you look at, the incarceration rates, the inequality between people of color and whites, right? Or the inequality in terms of sentencing, like for the death penalty, something like that. So in the criminal justice system, right, you can look at systemic white privilege playing out in those areas.
When I hear about the likelihood of ethnic minorities going to prison, it does make me want to try harder to succeed in whatever task I do, to help prove the stereotypes wrong and to show that all people are capable of doing really great things with if they try their hardest.
There was this Kenyan guy. He looked more Middle Eastern, but he was, you know, a Kenyan by nationality. And he looked at me, you know, all my white friends got into my white missionary friends got into the back of the truck. I got into the back of the truck, and he was looking at me. He's like, "You're American too?" And I was like, "Yes, Black American." He's like, "So you're a nigger, right?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" And so all my white friends would just sit there, and they kind of looked like, you know what? And I was like, you know, "Excuse me?" He said, they call you nigger in America, right? And I was like, no. I was just like, what? Like, what do y'all think is going on? Like, it was baffling, like some of the things that I heard.
I have to separate myself from extremists or people who do bad things, but we share the same race, or we share the same religion, or we share the same type of clothes we wear.
From American society, I don't face any type of discrimination for being a white Muslim, because for the most part nobody can tell that I'm a Muslim. So it doesn't, I do witness some of the stereotyping of my friends that are not white, and that's upsetting.
I feel like I should be able to represent myself as an individual, not 1.7 billion other people.
I remember this one guy, this African man, he took off his shirt and wiped down the seat of my white missionary friend and told her to sit there. And I sat on the floor in his house.
It's tough to think that America is a fair place and also think that I benefit from white privilege. Typically, people don't do well with nuance. It's easier to believe that the world is either entirely good or entirely bad.
It's hard because we think as Americans you just need to work hard, right? And if you put your nose to the grindstone and do everything you're supposed to do, you're going to be successful. And again, we point out when you think about privilege and oppression that that's easier for some people than others.
People who deny the existence of white privilege have a misconception about American society. That misconception being that if you simply work hard and you get an education, you can get ahead. And that's kind of almost theology in America. It's just something that we've been taught to believe, in one sense to inspire people to work hard, but it's very simplistic and it denies a lot of the reality.
Since photography started, because photography is a fairly new art form anyway, and so I think since the beginning of it, there's just been heavily prevalent Caucasian people in general, but Caucasian women depicted, and especially on magazine covers, you expect to see a Caucasian woman on the front of a magazine cover. Now, I will say that we were talking about it in one of my classes the other week, that it has changed, or it's starting to change, that it's becoming more diverse, and that photographers are beginning to shoot many races. So, but it's still a type of thing where, like, you look on People magazine and you're just, there's nothing, I guess you just expect to see a white woman.
Growing up, I was taught that my skin was beautiful just because it's almost white.
I guess because there's an idealized face that is portrayed, and so everyone's striving to achieve that.
Affirmative action is intended to, begin to address a set of historical wrongs. If anything, it doesn't go far enough to address them rather than going too far.
One time I did get the initiative to do something about it. I took a picture of my hand with the thumbs up symbol. I posted it on Instagram, and during the picture I just mentioned that my skin's not white, it's brown, and I'm okay with that. I said that sometimes you get treated on poorly, not as best as you want to, but it's all right. The only way to make things right is to not let it get to you, but to keep moving forward, to pray for people who don't know any better, and just hope that they get the guidance they need to realize everybody's their own unique person, no matter what color skin you are or where you come from.
If we don't acknowledge that white privilege exists, then we'll never fix it, and equality will never be fully realized.
Many people believe that to acknowledge white privilege is to forfeit its benefits, and that is simply not true. When I leave this interview driving home tonight, if I'm pulled over, I will receive the benefits for white privilege whether I give them up right now or not. I could write an op-ed in the New York Times saying, "Don't treat me as a white man," and it wouldn't matter because I receive the benefits of existing in a white body regardless of what I say, think, or do.
A couple times he tries to tell me, well, that things are different.
Change is not just going to take place at the individual level, but it's going to have to take place at the institutional or structural level. So it's not just everyone all of a sudden recognizing their privilege and then we're all going to live in a better world and everyone's going to be treated equally, right? It's going to have to be, that change is going to have to take place more at that institutional level, and that won't happen until people recognize their privilege.
White privilege is just one category in a broader scheme of discrimination that our society is plagued with. It's discrimination in our society, not just racially, but also socioeconomically. We have an issue with the poor in this country. We have an issue with women in this country. And overcoming white privilege, I think, is just one step, but it's not the end-all solution to discrimination. I think just accepting individuals for just being who they are and not demanding such a conformity to society, and the belief that that conformity is what makes our society operate or function.
I'm Bill Oglesby, an assistant professor at VCU's Robertson School of Media and Culture and the instructor for the documentary class. With me this evening are the producers of the Invisible Privilege documentary, Summer Jamal and Preston Thompson and Ilaria Jones. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Let me ask you, though, this is considerably more controversial as a topic than many of the documentaries that students choose to do. I mean, you can do anything, basically. You can do, what kinds of pizza you like or whatever, but you chose something that was definitely controversial. Why?
I mean, I think it was hard choosing it, and it was definitely, it wasn't easy doing so. But I think the fact that, it's something that's there. White privilege exists, and it's something that we should acknowledge. So I feel like it was worth getting out of your comfort zone and doing a topic that a lot of people may look down upon.
Yeah. Did you find that that there were people who were hesitant to talk about it for whatever reason?
Yeah, a lot of people were like, because again, white privilege has this misconception as if you're trying to bring back racism, and that's not our purpose. Our purpose is acknowledging something that exists. So a lot of people kind of had that white privilege, talking about racism, no. But then a lot of people were interested in doing so because they knew that it does exist and they knew it was worth talking about.
Preston, did you, I know when that topic comes up, when the topic of white privilege comes up, there's a real tendency that people can be a little bit defensive about it. Almost like, oh, are you attacking me? Or are you suggesting that I didn't deserve what I got, or that kind of thing? Did you find much of that, and how did you overcome that?
Yes, we did find a lot of it. We actually had a lot more potential interviews that we wanted to get, but again, the white privilege has such a negative connotation that people don't want to hear. They don't want to be questioned that they got to a certain place because of the color of their skin or their status in life. They want to believe that they did it for hard work. So it was difficult trying to get people involved with it, but we just got them involved by really telling them what we're trying to do and trying to bring these stories to life so people have something to hear and relate to.
Mm-hmm. Was there any certain story that you connected with more than others, or did you in a personal way connect with any of it?
I would say Chanel Copeland's. I wouldn't really say I connected with it, but I do think it was very enlightening to me that white privilege is such on a global level like that, that in Africa, thinking that African Americans are still being referred to as the N-words was very surprising to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was kind of, it's always shocking to hear that. You know,
right.
Laria, what challenge did you find that was the hardest to overcome in making this documentary?
I would say that the biggest challenge for us as a team would have been just making sure our story was brought to light in a way that we really intended it to be, not just like, you know, oh, this is something that we go through all the time, this is something that affects us, just something that, you know, it is in our society and in our community, and it affects everybody. And I feel like after our interviews and we got a different variety, like it was brought to light that, you know, everybody does see that this is an issue and it is affecting everybody in our society.
Did anybody get the feeling, maybe you can answer this too, Laurie, I don't know, but did anybody get the feeling that by becoming aware of it, becoming more aware of it, that maybe it can change at some point?
I think we all kind of got that. You know, of course that would be nice, you know, to think that, you know, if more people knew about it, it would change. But in a way, like one of our interviewees, Mike Wayne, said, you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, take off that privilege. It's not a privilege that you can just give up easily. So it would take work, but it would be nice to see a change.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Enjoyed the documentary. Summer Jamal and Preston Thompson and Ilaria Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Oglesby. Now we turn back to time to a documentary we first aired last spring on something called Comedy Sports. Ever heard of it?
Since 1996, Comedy Sports Richmond has been around to give families laughs and friends throughout the River City. As an improv comedy theater, their main mission is to share laughter with their loyal fans.
And that's exactly what Comedy Sports has been doing for 18 years now. Here is Legends, Laughs, and Hams, a Comedy Sports story.
Comedy Sports has been there for me through some very, very tough times in my life.
And I was in danger of spending the next 40 years going to work, coming home, sitting on the couch, and falling asleep after eating dinner.
One of the great things about Comedy Sports is being able to offer people this destination. Comedy Sports is improvisational comedy.
Yeah, it's two teams duking it out for points and for your laughs and respect.
It's improv because it's all made up. It's all on the spot. And it's set up like a sporting event. So it's not comedy about sports. It's comedy that is a sport. It's a sporting event of comedy.
We are a family. Most of the people out there I've known since I was like 5 years old. I've been coming to Comedy Sports since I was 5. So I've grown up with them and they've seen me grow up as well. So Comedy Sports to me is a family.
Hey honey, wanna dance? Hear the music swing. Let our two hearts.
A lot of people say, wow, you do improv. What do you need to practice for? You're making it up. And practice is crucial because first of all, you're bonding with your fellow performers. We have a large troupe. And so you never know exactly who you're going to get scheduled with week after week. So when you get to practice, you're getting to see, that's the quality time you get to spend with your fellow performers.
Hello. Normally one would think that I would improvise all the parts of teaching an improv workshop, but I have notes. They're right here. And these notes are really important because they have all of the knowledge that I will be sharing tonight. It's probably a good thing that everyone's listening. So here are the rules. It goes like this. This was explained to me with a different name, but I'm going to call it Spit because that's how we used to play it down south here. The game of Spit goes like follows. So you've got your partner there, and you've actually got a deck of cards.
Rules help because even though we know how the games are played, we don't always play with the same people.
In your imaginary version of Spit is you're going to start throwing cards. 3, king, 7, 10, all right? And when you say the same thing, the first person to say spit grabs the cards, all right?
But you may not have played with 2 of your 4 people or 2 of your 3 people, and then it makes it rough. So practices and rehearsals are very important because it helps you get to know the other players, and it helps you get to see what their strengths and their weaknesses are, and then it makes for the show to be so much better because we can play to the strengths and avoid the weaknesses.
I think I'm right for the role of Miss Marple.
Hi, I'm Susan. I am Susan the Barber of Scoville, and I am the ref for tonight's match at Comedy Sports.
Hi! Welcome to Comedy Sports Improv Theater. Let's hear this crowd go wild.
Well, we all go warm up so that everybody's got their head in the game, everybody's connected. We are excited and full of energy.
Captain's on the playing field. Now you've gotten to challenge each other, and I want to challenge you both, and I'm challenging both teams to Beastie Rap. Okay. How many of you remember the Beastie Boys? I do. Yeah? Their sort of signature thing was they have a front man who sets up the rhyme and a posse in the back that finishes the rhyme. So
I know one guy, and his name is Max. He likes to play blues. He plays that gold sax. Hey, you better pay your tax. Hokey might I have lots of special.
When people go to a stand-up comedy show, they expect to get insulted. And at Comedy Sports, that is not the case. When we don't put anyone on the spot that doesn't ask for it. You know, we're not there to insult people. We're there to bring them in and have fun with us. And so that's really what I like about interacting with loyal fans is breaking down that preconceived notion that, uh-oh, he's getting ready to pick on me. And then you just see that I'm having this conversation with you and laughing with you and bringing you along into the joke.
So like just making them feel a little bit of happiness and pride is awesome, just to see them smile.
The loyal fans are the kind of people I'd like to hang out with anyway. It's just they're the right kind of people who I'd like to know. My favorite thing about Comedy Sports is the community.
I always knew that these people would be there for me no matter what and would help me through these things, and that's exactly what's happened.
When I first started doing Comedy Sports, I really knew that I needed some kind of outlet. Over the years, Comedy Sports means so much more to me than that. Comedy Sports is this national network of the nicest people you have ever met.
I do Comedy Sports because it improves who I am. It makes me more interesting, more free. It makes me like who I am better. It's just a better outlook on the world.
I was a small youngin'. My entire family would come. And then when my parents separated, my father and I would come like literally every weekend to every show. And then when I was 12, I got asked to join the high school league, and then my father joined the major league, which is what is out there now. And then I've been doing it ever since.
Why do I do Comedy Sports? I can't picture not doing it. I feel truly called to bring laughter. And I don't like to be that guy that forces laughter in a room. So I may not be the funniest guy at work, or, you know, I'm not going to do it there, but I really feel like this is something where I can give that. And I'm not doing it to get rich. I'm doing it because it truly feels right to help people laugh.
Thanks! Check out these matching roller skates. Wing a ding.
Hello world, do improv. It will set you free.
Oh, let's get together with our old cohorts and we'll head on down to the Comedy Sports where they do improv and they make people laugh and they keep on cutting their stories in half. Then the ref blows a whistle and throws down the flag. Somebody's got it with the old brown bag. You can have a cup of coffee in your jeans or your shorts, cause that's the way they roll at the Comedy Sports. There's a guy named Dave and he plays Mr. Voice, or he could be the referee if that's his choice. And you dang better sing for the Golden Fox, so you find yourself singing in the apology box. Don't throw things at the people that you see, or they'll take you out back and you'll be tickled till you pee. They'll perform at your businesses or military forts, 'cause that's the way they roll at the Comedy Sports.
That does it for this edition of VCU In Depth, and thank you for joining us. I'm Alexis Manley.
And I'm Chelsea Hansen. For all of us at VCU In Depth, good night.